Today I wanted to share a list of 10 mistakes that I've made in my 28 years of training for triathlon. I've actually probably made them in the first 10 years, but here are the top 10 mistakes that I've made. I've made all of them except number 9, and I'll explain why when I get there. So number 1, athletes who don't understand the importance of mobility exercises. Mobility includes core functional strength training, body weight movements, strengthening your shoulders for swimming, all the muscles around your shoulders, strengthening your glutes for cycling and running, primarily the glute medius. Thoracic spine mobility is really important, not just for swimming, but for all sports. And I discovered it in 2010. So I was in the sport since 1992. So it was a long time before like the word mobility entered my mind. And it was primarily because I'd been injured and I just, stopped, and I'm like, what am I missing in my program that I could incorporate to help prevent injuries? And mobility was definitely the answer. I got a TRX and I started taking some classes called Movement U, and I just really dove into the educational part of mobility. So mobility is a key ingredient to athlete success. On top of that is strength training. So not doing strength training. Again, I didn't start strength training until I was a collegiate swimmer. And when we did strength training, my coach never really explained the benefit of it. So I just thought it was a waste of time, and I really just wanted to be in the endurance part of the sport. And now, again, as an older athlete, master's athlete, it's more critical to do strength training, specifically heavy strength training if you're a master's athlete. A master's, I'm thinking above 40 years old. And a lot of athletes don't do strength training. Probably the number one cause is two reasons. Number one, they don't have time. Number two, they just don't understand the importance of it. When I, post-college, when I continued doing strength training, I primarily do it for my health. Back then as well as today. Bone health, increasing my bone mass, again, the health benefits of lower cholesterol, low blood pressure, and just, doing some strength training for your health and less of a performance thing. But doing heavy strength training does definitely increase your economy as a runner. Number 3 is not eating enough. I labeled that as low calorie, but really what it means is not eating enough. When I got into triathlon after my freshman year of collegiate swimming, I loved the fact that I could train for 2 sports a day and not have to get in the water. But I didn't understand anything about nutrition, and I was definitely under fueling for sure, but there wasn't really the education out there like there is today. And then fast forward to 1999 when I completed my master's thesis on eating, training, and prevalence of disordered eating among triathletes. So I got a lot of stories from athletes who filled out my questionnaire telling me about their disordered eating as well as eating disorders. And I think a lot of us endurance athletes do at some point in our sport do have some body image issues and some eating issues that we tend to underfuel instead of overfuel. But I definitely think athletes are out there who definitely overfuel with too much processed foods. Again, back in my day when I started, I did get in the habit of thinking because I just rode or ran or swam a certain volume of activity for the day that I deserved a non-whole food product, some sort of processed food. Maybe it's a cookie, a cake, pastries, usually it was my sweet tooth. But I didn't really keep track, and so I would overconsume in that processed foods. And again, as I've gotten older and educated, I describe processed foods as anything in the aisle section of the grocery store. So if you shop the perimeter and buy more of the whole foods around the perimeter of the grocery store, you're probably safe that you're eating more whole foods than processed foods. But anything that comes in a box is a processed food. Number 5 is not taking recovery seriously enough, which includes Whole food nutrition is going to enhance your recovery, but also includes proper sleep. Making sure you're getting the necessary sleep that your body needs. Maybe it's 5 hours, maybe it's 10 hours. Everyone's different. I fall in that now 7 to 8 hour range of sleep that I feel really good about. Back in the day, I used to get like 3 or 4 hours of sleep and still train the volume I was training on definitely less sleep. It's really windy out here. So making sure you're not only getting enough sleep and enough nutrition, those two things come number one for recovery, but using some products out on the market that you know, claim that they enhance recovery. I'm sure they do. I'm just not one of those persons that uses those types of products. Maybe you're going to get therapy through a massage therapist, a Theragun, ice baths. I think ice baths feel really good. I'm not sure the benefits are out there on whether they enhance recovery or not. I think they do, so I'm going to do it. Number 6 is following another athlete's training plan. So there's definitely a time and a place to do group workouts and do your friend's workout with them. But if you really want to succeed as an individual person on an individual level, it's important to follow your training plan that's specifically based on your experience, your goals, and your time available to train. That's going to give you, and your training zones, that's going to get you more success than always doing other people's training plan. And I think a lot of people will not only do their training plan, but will also do the workouts of other athletes. Number 7, doing too much intensity. Not many athletes understand the benefits of active recovery and easy days to enhance tissue resilience, to enhance recovery, and so they always think that if they're not going hard enough, they're not going to get the benefits, which definitely isn't true. You want to balance the hard days with the easy days. Number 8, training too much in what's called the gray zone, that moderate zone, where they're not going hard enough in the training plan details when they're supposed to be going in like a zone 4, zone 5, RPE 8 or over, and they're not going to get those benefits, as well as not going easy enough, RPE 3 on a 10-point scale, or zone 1 and 2, and they're always either going a little bit too hard or a little bit not hard enough, so they're just doing too much in that gray zone. There's a time and a place for gray zone training, but when you really want to get in that build phase and make big improvements, it's important to balance those easy days with the hard days. Number 9, which is not a problem I had, is athletes don't understand RPE. I think RPE, rate of perceived effort, on a scale of 1 to 10 is very important to include in an athlete's training program. I think it's important to use metrics, certain heart rate zones, power zones, pace zones to learn your RPE. Back when I started in 1992, they didn't have all the gadgets like they do now, so the only thing that I used to train by was my rate of perceived effort, and getting to know, was I going hard, or was I going easy, or was I going moderate? And then when I got my heart rate monitor, that was a tool that I used to guide me to learn my rate of perceived effort. And number 10, there's definitely more than 10, but these are my top 10, is not seeking professional therapy, physical therapy, chiropractic work, massage therapy. There's so many others out there, acupuncture, when they're injured. So again, when I started triathlon, my first major injury was in 1997, training for my first Ironman. I had posterior tibialis tendonitis, but back then I didn't really understand what was going on with me. I probably didn't have insurance or whatever. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have a physical therapist. I didn't have that person to guide me and to educate me the importance if I would have just gotten it taken care of, diagnosed and treated, I would have been better off, especially in the upcoming years after that first injury, because I struggled a lot in those early days of triathlon with ankle issues because I didn't know any better. I didn't get the diagnosis, I didn't get the therapy, and I didn't do my mobility and strength. So all of these mistakes, if you don't make them, will enhance your injury prevention program. So if you have any questions, let me know by commenting below. I'd love to hear what your mistakes that you've made have been for you as an athlete that you can share to help educate others. And I hope you make it a great day.